I guess he's an angel of mysteries and secrets. But the next whisper I'd like to do is, it's about Azreal, who is the Archangel of Death. The reason why I think this name is kind of interesting is because I was telling this girl about a book I read about a prison guard who, and this was a true story, it was about a prison guard who had a really creepy prisoner, and he kept saying that Azreal was coming to get him. And he was doing this, he was saying this for like weeks. And so finally he asked a friend, like, who is Azreal? And the friend said, well, we don't know anyone named Azreal, but in the Bible there is a story about an angel, and its name is Azreal. And the story that he told him was that when you die, Azreal, they say that when people die, they're really scared of death. And when they die, God sends down this angel. And if you're a guy and you're attracted to women, then this angel comes down as a really beautiful girl. That would be exactly your type. And you're just so intrigued and so enchanted and so attracted to this angel that your spirit willingly leaves to follow this angel. Like, hey, where are you going? Can I get your name? Can I get your number? And the angel follows you, or you follow the angel into heaven. And that angel's name is Azreal. That's what I heard. So now I wanted to read. I decided to Google it. I just Googled Azreal and it showed up as Archangel of Death. So here's some of the stuff that it says. It says, Azreal was one of the first gory created, and he was the first to be made an archangel. Patient, meticulous, soft-spoken. He was so unobtrusive about his work that few of his fellow angels could be said to have known him, even before the outcasting of his choir. The few who did know him knew that in addition to his other qualities, Azreal was above all the kind of one of the gentlest souls in the Seraphim Council. Shortly after his creation, Azreal was assigned to study a phenomenon not well understood by heaven at that time, the disposition of human souls. Wow, what does that even mean? The disposition. What does disposition mean? I don't know. I'll have to Google it. The angels had long known that some human souls arrived in heaven and others did not. Reincarnation and oblivion had been offered as theories, but no one really knew where the missing souls were going, and the Seraphim Council intuited that following the fall, the questions might be very important. Azreal was given the word of death to carry out his duties. Angelic words were much less competitive and assigned with less deliberations in those days. In his research, Azreal learned how to track human souls after death, an accomplishment other angels have been unable to duplicate. He confirmed that reincarnation and dismantlement both occurred. In some cases, he also discovered that many souls were anchoring themselves to the corporeal plane as ghosts, or to the ethereal plane as dream shades. Some were drawn into the domains of ethereal spirits, mostly pagan worshippers. The greatest revelation was the fate of those humans who were weighed down by their selfishness. They were banished to a nether realm on the celestial was elevated to the status of Archangel and given the duty of making sure no souls were misdirected away from heaven. He and his servitors would gently separate ghosts and dream shades from their anchors, retrieving pagan souls from the ethereal domains and prevent the demons from claiming any souls that didn't belong to them. Azreal was extremely effective at his job. Angels of Death became the bane of pagan gods and exorcised hundreds of ghosts that had been clinging to the corporal plane. Azreal instructed his servitors to also teach humans to accept death, and it was merely a transition to their next state, and that if they lived their lives well, they had no need for it. That's really interesting. So, yeah, Angels of Death were among the least involved with day-to-day mortal existence. They visited humans only at the end of their lives, so neither Azreal nor any of his Grigori servitors were guilty of the crimes that got the rest of his choir cast out of heaven. Azreal had allies on the Seraphim Council and might have been able to exempt himself had he fought the sentence, but Dominic had already begun sniffing around his visits to the infernal realm, just as the Archangel of Death was achieving some success at liberating damned souls from hell. Most of the host believed Azreal declined to appeal for social dispensation out of solidarity with his choir, and because he was indignant at David's brutal treatment of the Grigori and the humans who'd been fraternizing with them. This was true, but a more important reason was that Azreal wanted to continue his most important project and deducted that he would have more freedom to do so as an outcast, so he left heaven, but never stopped serving God. The majority of Azreal's servitors, except his Grigori am I even pronouncing that right? Grigori, or is it pronounced in a different way? Anyways, I feel like I'm saying it wrong, but I'm not really sure what the right way to say